What's up, everyone? I'm Matt with Ozark Overland Adventures, and back in May of 2021, just 9 months ago from when I'm recording this, I bought my 2021 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon in this gorgeous hydro blue color, and I have loved this vehicle. It is fantastic. I have no regrets of trading in my JK Wrangler. I bought it knowing exactly how I wanted to build it. And that is what I have set out to do in the last 9 months and have got it to what I think is a very happy place. And so what I'm going to do in this video is break down the cost item by item, and at the end give you a total for how much, if you were going to turn around and build this exact same Gladiator today, how much it would cost. Now, I think I've been fairly budget minded with this build. Considering it's a Gladiator, they're not cheap. But, you know, I haven't gone out and thrown a whole bunch of super expensive parts at it. I think I've been very intentional in the choices that I've made, why I made those choices, and I'll be curious to know what you think in the end. I could have definitely built this for a whole lot more than what I did. And not only that, I mean, this is a YouTube channel. Companies do contact us and ask to send us things. And I mean, that's part of what this job entails is, you know, we either say yes or no. And if we say yes, we get them in, we evaluate them, and we put them on our rigs, we run them, we give feedback to the companies, we tell you if we like them or not. And so I'm actually going to tell you what parts on this vehicle were sponsored and what I paid for. And of those things that were sponsored, would I buy them with my own money? Should be a lot of fun.
Ozark Overland Adventures is proudly supported by the More Expo, the Midwest's only indoor event for adventure travel enthusiasts. Artemis Overland Hardware. They have the passion and knowledge to ensure that your next outdoor experience is more than a camping trip, it's an adventure. And Long Creek Overland, your source for Ozark Overland Adventures merchandise and more.
Okay, so let's start with the Gladiator itself. Like I said, I bought it brand new in May of 2021. They had this sitting on the lot. I did not custom order this, and I was pretty pleased with the options that it had because it pretty much had everything I wanted. It pretty much has everything except for the aux switches inside, the outlet in the tailgate, and the adaptive cruise control. Other than that, it's got everything. It's got the 410 gears. It has the LED light package, which I really wanted. This one came with really fancy leather seats, which I didn't know were a thing. And they're gorgeous, and I don't regret it because they're very comfortable. It did come with the 33-inch MT tires, not the all-terrains. It came with the black hardtop, not color matched, black fenders, not color matched. It did have the spray-in bed liner. It has the cold weather package, so heated seats, heated steering wheel. It did come with the nice rubber floor mats. It came with the active safety group, so proximity warnings when you're people in your blind spots. It did come with the tow package, which includes a higher output alternator and a few other goodies, which is great because we do have our nice new camper that I'm towing with it. And then the hydro blue is an upcharge option as well. Now, 9 months ago, the sticker on this was $60,410. So just for fun, I went to Jeep's website this morning and put in all the exact same options for a 22 model, and the total came out to $62,900, which is a lot of money for a vehicle that you're going to take and get dirty and probably break some stuff on. But that's exactly why I bought it. That's exactly why I built it, because it is freaking amazing. Now, the very first thing I wanted to do with this is put a good quality lift on it and some bigger tires, and then go out and wheel the crap out of it. And that's exactly what I did. So started with the Rock Crawler X Factor 3-inch lift, which it is just fantastic. It has tons of flex. It includes all 8 control arms, so you can dial in your geometry, and this thing drives fantastic. I mean, it is a good quality lift, and I say all the time to people on the internet forums and stuff, don't cheap out on the most important thing that determines your ride quality and your handling, and that is your lift. Don't cheap out on that. You will regret it, I promise. So the Rock Crawler lift, I love it. It comes in at $2,737 and a penny. The lift did not come with shocks, so for that I went with the Bilstein 5100s. Been real happy with those shocks. The Bilsteins are not expensive shocks at all. They come in at $103 a piece, so a total of $412 for all four, and that is a really good value. For tires, I went with the Milestar Patagonias in a 17-1250-17. I had run these tires on my JK before I got the Gladiator. Was crazy impressed with how well they performed off-road, and so I knew that was the tire that I wanted for the Gladiator. They are not a super expensive tire. All 5 of them together cost $1,590, which for 537s, that's not bad. For the wheels, I went with the Vision Manx in a 17x9 with a -12 offset. They're a nice satin black. They're a fairly simple design and not a crazy expensive wheel. And all 5 of those cost $758, which for 5 wheels, also not bad. Now with the larger tire, some people say you can fit a 37-inch tire up in the factory spare tire location under the bed. I could not get my Milestars to fit. They rubbed against the track bar. So to fix that, I did purchase a different adjustable rear track bar from Clayton Off-Road. It's real nice. It's got a bend to it that accommodates for a larger spare tire back there, and it works great. And for that, I paid $249. Here in Arkansas, wheeling in the Ozarks, we have a ton of water crossings. If you watched any of my trip videos, you know what I'm talking about. And for that, I think a snorkel is a critical piece that you need if you're going to be wheeling in those type of environments, and went with the ARB snorkel for the JLs and JTs. That snorkel fits so nice. It is wraps around the fenders so good, and I just like that classic snorkel look on it. So no regrets there, but that ARB snorkel is $599. All right, let's talk bumpers and armor. So I was rocking the factory steel bumper for a while. Got a worn winch plate that was just over $300 for that, and the factory steel bumper was great. But I did get an offer from JC Whitney and CarParts.com. They wanted to send me their new bumper and asked me to check it out. So I agreed. So my front bumper and my rear bumper are JC Whitney brand. I am actually very happy with those bumpers. They are not expensive at all. The front bumper is $399.99 and the rear bumper is $632.99. And the quality of the steel, the quality of the welds, I mean, I just really couldn't find anything wrong with them for that price. They are very heavy because of how much steel that's used in them. If I were to buy my own aftermarket bumper, I would probably choose something a little smaller, a little lighter, and something with a recessed winch mount. That is my only real key gripe about the front bumper, is that the winch mount sits on top of the bumper. And I do have the front mounted camera that I forgot to mention in the list of options, but I do have the front mounted camera on the Gladiator, and raising the winch up does interfere with that camera view a little bit. So were I to purchase it with my own money, I would choose a different option with a recessed winch mount. Now the rear bumper, I would buy that. I would absolutely buy the rear bumper. It's great quality. It fit really well. Has the provisions for the sensors in the back. And I mean, for that price, $699, I would absolutely buy the rear bumper. The rock rails, they came from Ace Engineering. I had very similar rock rails on my JK. I love them. They work in conjunction with the Rubicon rock rails, so you kind of get double protection there. They are body mounted, which doesn't bother me at all. I have beat the crap out of these things, and they have held up fantastic. They kick out from body enough so that when I'm wheeling in tight areas and trees and rocks, it kicks my Jeep out away from the obstacle enough that I'm not worried about body damage there. And it makes a really nice step when I have to get up and, deal with my tent or, access the roof for cleaning or whatnot. But the Ace Engineering rock sliders come in at $1,239.99. They're expensive. They're very expensive, but I would absolutely buy these with my own money because I did. For the winch, I actually started with the Warren VR10S winch that came off my wife's JK that she used to own. Thought that was going to be a fantastic winch for me, but turns out it died when I was running Pritchett Canyon. It left me hanging 10 feet from the top of the end of the trail, which was not cool. And at the perfect time, Open Road 4-wheel drive contacted me about sending me their Panther Series 2 winch, and so I jumped on it. It is waterproof, IP67 rated, which is fantastic for all the water crossings and stuff that we do. And so far, I have been very impressed with that winch, and it's not expensive. It's only $420 for mine, 13,000 pounds, synthetic line, waterproof, wireless remotes. I mean, you can't beat that, and it's been a fantastic winch. We actually like it so much that we're getting one to put on my wife's new JL. So, do we like it enough to spend our own money on it? The answer is absolutely yes. Highly recommend the Open Road 4-wheel drive Panther Series 2 winch. It is fantastic and works great. To go along with the winch, I've got the Factor 55 flat link on the front. That also came off my wife's previous JK. That's an expensive little piece of hardware at $140. I have a hard time spending that much money myself. If I didn't already have it, would I buy one again? Honestly, I probably would. I really like the flat link. I like how it fits. It's very functional. Yeah, I'd probably spend 140 bucks on that. Now, to compensate for the bigger tires and all the weight that I'm carrying around, I did get the Jeep re-geared. I'm running 529 gears in the differentials, which is probably a little too much for 37s, probably would be perfect for 40s. But considering the fact that I tow with it quite a bit, I do not regret going with the 529s at all. They perform incredibly well. The factory 410s just weren't quite up to handling the 37s. Cruising on the interstate, would be hitting pretty much cruising in 6th gear, sometimes 7th gear, never 8th gear. So the 529s I very much like. I did make an agreement with Mud Connections in Little Rock. They're the ones who did the install. We bartered, and I did the video for them. They did the gears for me. Value for that was about $1,800, which is absolutely worth a re-gear. If you are running larger tires, any tires over factory, re-gear. I mean, do yourself a favor. You'll make your engine happier, you make your transmission happier, and you'll be happier in the long run because stuff's not wearing out prematurely. So absolutely worth the money for the re-gear. Because I tow and because I do have all the added weight in the back, I did add airbags from Airlift. They are their Airlift 1000 air springs. They are just like football size airbags that fit inside the coils. And they weren't great. I did get the ones for the Ram 1500 because of my 3-inch lift. The ones for the Gladiator are designed for the stock lift, and the ones for the 1500 have a little bit, or they're a little bit longer. So I did pay for those. They were just $116. And if you tow in a mid-sized truck like this, and the weight of whatever you're towing, makes the back end sag, highly recommend the airbags. They work. So now let's move to the back of the Gladiator, because this is what I got the Gladiator for. I had full intentions of building the Gladiator with everything focused around the back of it for overlanding purposes and camping purposes, and I wanted everything to be centered around that. So that's been a big focus of my build. Starting with the bed rack. It came from Reverall Off-Road. We did buy it. And it's their half rack. It is fantastic. I have no complaints with it whatsoever. It's, I think, the perfect height and has all the mounting locations and stuff. They've got a crap ton of accessories you can get for it if you want to. But I'm very impressed with the rack. It was $1,308. And yeah, I mean, it was absolutely worth it. Glad I bought it. The Gladiator did not come with the bed rails from the factory, and I needed that for the install, so I got the bed rails from Rebel Off-Road. Those were another $250 on top of the bed rack, but I mean, as far as bed rails go, they seem to be good quality and they work. Now the tent I have absolutely loved on the back of the Gladiator. It is the Global Road Outdoors Sidekick 1. It's basically a full-size bed up there. It is fantastic. Good quality materials, nice thick hard shell on it. I've been very impressed with it. The cost for the tent is $2,475. I am good friends with the owner of Global Road Outdoors. Their warehouse is just 30 miles from me, so I'm able to go down there, check it out when they get new stuff, and the owner, James, is just a fantastic guy. He did make me a really good deal on the tent to run on my Gladiator, but if I was paying full price for it, the Global Road Outdoors tent is hands down the best value for a hard shell rooftop tent. And in addition to the tent and the quality of the materials that go into it, you also get the insulation kit for the winter, which I've been using this winter, and it is fantastic and makes a huge difference. You also get the awning that goes with it, and you're just not going to find a better value in a hard shell rooftop tent. The blue traction boards that you see on the Gladiator, those are by Action Tracks. They are made in the USA. Not, the cheaper Amazon traction boards. These are good quality traction boards that are made right here. The versions that I have the metal studs that are on the front and the back of the traction boards just to give you a little bit extra traction. When you're getting stuck, you spin those tires, sometimes that can rip those plastic teeth off. So the metal studs just give you a little extra strength there. They are not exactly cheap. They come in at $370 for the metal teeth version, which are quite a bit cheaper than Max Tracks and their premium version. Action Tracks did cut me a pretty sweet deal on these that made them really difficult to turn down, which is why I got them. And I mean, they look really great on the Gladiator. I haven't had a chance to use them yet. The saying is, if you buy them, you'll never use them. So far I haven't used them. Typically, if I'm in a recovery situation, I'm going to the winch. I just don't wheel in areas where there's a lot of sand, and I wheel in areas where there's a lot of trees. So if I'm in a recovery situation, I got trees to attach to for the winch. Would I pay full price for a set of traction boards like this? I mean, if I was in an area that I would use them more, yes. For my current use purposes and where I wheel a lot, I just don't use them. And so if I hadn't got a really good deal on them, I probably wouldn't have paid full price on them, just to be honest with you. But if you're going to buy traction boards, I think they're fantastic. Now, on the other side of the bed is my little mini traction boards. Those are by a company called Bunker Industries. They reached out to me if I would be interested in using them, and I said yes, because they make great leveling blocks for leveling your vehicle to sleep in your tent. That's why I have them. And at only $79 for a set of two, I mean, you can't beat that. That's pretty awesome. So $158 for, I've got two sets over there. I've got 4 traction boards over there. So for $158, I mean, that's not a bad deal. I would absolutely buy those. The fridge that I'm running in the back is the IceCo VL75 Pro. I have run a couple different fridges back there. That is honestly one of the main benefits of having a YouTube channel and doing gear reviews is I do get to review a lot of fridges, and that's awesome. But the one that I have landed on to keep in the back of the Gladiator full time is the IceCo VL75 Pro. I just love IceCo's Pro series of fridges. They are well built. I love the lids, how you can open them from either side. You can take the lids off really easily. They've got excellent compressors with a 5-year warranty. I mean, IceCo, I think, is the best bang for the buck value fridge with really high quality that you can get. And I love the VL75 Pro. And if that hadn't been given to me for the channel, I absolutely would pay that money for it. Now, the slide that the fridge sits on is fantastic. It is from Global Road Outdoors, maker of the tent. And when James got those in, I was like, dude, I have got to have one of these because it's a 3-layer slide. It's got the fridge slide, then it's got a place for your kitchen prep, and then it's got a place for your stove. And it is very sturdy, and I love having that slide in the back of the Gladiator. It makes having the whole kitchen set up just absolutely perfect. That slide is $680. And honestly, for what all you get in that slide, I don't think you can find a better deal out there. You can obviously find just a fridge slide, or maybe a fridge slide with 1 extra drawer under it, but that 3 levels, it really is a good value. And if James hadn't made a really good deal for me to get that slide, I would absolutely pay full price for that slide. It's just that good. Now on the other side of the bed rack, I've got the little storage bag that actually is from a company called Supery. This bag is actually designed for inside a Wrangler on the back crossbar, but I asked them if I could get that to put on the bed rack to keep my recovery gear, my air hose for my air compressor, and just miscellaneous gear, tire repair kit, gloves, that sort of thing. And it has become so handy just to have that type of stuff easily accessible that I love that thing. It's only $76 from Amazon, and it is fantastic. If they hadn't sent that to me for the build, absolutely I would buy that. And if something happened to that one and I had to buy another one, I would, because it's just that handy and I like that bag so much. Now the air compressor that I have mounted in the back, that is one that I have had for, gosh, going on 9 years now. It was one of the first things I bought for my very first Jeep, and it's a Smitty built. It's their 2781. It's the biggest air compressor you can buy from them. It's the kind that come in a bag and you put alligator clips onto the battery, but I've since modified it to be permanently mounted and I have a switch for it. But man, that air compressor is just fantastic. I don't think you can find a better value in an air compressor than that Smitty built. And I don't recommend a lot of things from Smitty built, but that air compressor I recommend all the time. It is fantastic, and it has been a workhorse for over 9 years now, which is saying a lot. I have a 5-pound propane tank mounted on the inside of the bed with a power tank tank mount, and I love that 5-pound propane tank. We bought that off Amazon. It was only $68. I just got so tired of using little 1-pound bottles, and they're like $4 a bottle at Walmart. When I can go and have that 5-pound tank refilled for $5, I mean, it pays for itself really fast, and the value is, I mean, you just can't argue with it. And I love having plenty of propane for cooking and stuff at camp. Like I said, it's mounted to a power tank mount that I got from Rebel Off-Road. That thing is $130. It's a lot of money, but just the convenience of having that mounted and not just rolling around loose in the bed. I really like it, and yeah, I would spend the money on that because I did. Now the power that I've got in the back of the bed to run everything, to run the fridge, to run accessories, to run all my lights and stuff, I've got two 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate batteries from Anti-Gravity, and those things are amazing. They are not cheap by any means. They are $900 a piece, so I've got $1,800 worth of batteries sitting in the back of my Gladiator, and I love it. They have a Bluetooth app so that you can monitor the status of the batteries, charging, discharge, all that sort of stuff. And yes, you can find cheaper 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate batteries out there, but I just don't think you're gonna find the quality and the features that you're gonna find with the Anti-Gravity. So Anti-Gravity did offer to send those to me for use on the channel, and I'm very grateful to them for that. If I were in the market and buying my own batteries, knowing what I know now, Anti-Gravity is what I would go with. I mean, they're just that good, and I think they're worth it. Now, charging the batteries is the BC-DC 1250D from Ozark. That thing is a charging beast. It puts out 50 charging amps into those batteries, so I could recharge 200 amp hours worth of batteries in just over 4 hours, which is incredible. In addition, it allows me to easily hook up solar to it. I can hook up shore power to it if I want to, and it's just that easy. And it's only $497, which for what it does, I think is an incredible value. Now, again, Ozark did offer to send that to me for the channel and for this build, and if I were paying for it myself, Ozark is hands down the company I would go with. That BCDC 1250 is just incredible for the price for what it does, and I think it's absolutely worth it. And yeah, I would buy it. And then to have some AC outlets out there, I just bought a cheap 1,000 watt pure sine inverter off of Amazon. It was $100. Considering that it's back there getting exposed to the elements and it's getting rained on a little bit and dust and everything, I just bought the cheapest one I can find off Amazon. That way if it dies, didn't waste a whole lot of money. But so far it's working great. And then to store the batteries, I just bought a couple cheap $10 battery boxes off Amazon. Nothing fancy. All I needed it to do was hold the batteries, secure them in there, keep the elements out of it a little bit, and these work great. Getting that power to the bed, one of the very first things I did was install a switch panel, also from Bucker Industries, and they sent it to me. But I mean, it's only a $25 switch panel. It gives me 4 switches. It gives me a 12-volt outlet. It gives me USB ports, and I can monitor the voltage. It was fantastic. For 25 bucks off Amazon, yeah, absolutely, I would buy that again. It served me well. And then the totes that I have in the back, they're 75-liter waterproof, dust-proof totes from 23-0. Those things are incredible. They are super tough, and they're also super expensive. They cost $270 a piece. So I've got $540 in 2 totes in the back of my Gladiator. One of them serves as a kitchen tote. All my kitchen gear is in there. And the other one serves as my general camp gear tote, toiletries, recovery gear, axe, camp lights, that sort of thing is all in that tote. I did not have to buy these totes. A friend of mine is a 23-0 dealer, and he had the totes, and he happened to be in the market for a 500 watt-hour power station. So I traded him a Jackery 500 for these 2 totes. Would I pay $540 for these of my own money? No way. I just can't justify spending that much money on a tote. I mean, that's just crazy. I do love them, but there's no way I would spend $270 a piece on them. I'm just too cheap for that. And then to round out the cooking aspect of the bed and the tailgate, I have the Mountain Hatch tailgate table. My wife bought that for me. It's $250 and basically turns your tailgate into one big giant cutting board. And it is fantastic. I knew that all my cooking and stuff would be built around that tailgate, and having that Mountain Hatch tailgate table is fantastic, and I'm so glad we bought that. Moving on to the lights, because I've got a lot of lights on my Gladiator for different purposes. The most obvious one is the KC Highlights Gravity Pro 6 light bar. On the front, that thing is just a beast, and it is gorgeous, and it is so well made, and it is stupid expensive. It is $1,800 for that light bar. And I did not buy it. My wife did. She bought that for her JK back when we were dating, and against my recommendation not to spend that much money on a light bar, she bought it because of just how well it looks, how well it's made. I am so glad to have it, but I would never spend my own money on a light bar that costs $1,800. When it comes to lights, I'm just too cheap to do that. I had a $50 light bar from Amazon on my JK before she sold her JK, and I inherited this light bar, and it did fine. It didn't look as cool, had some wind noises, but it worked. And I'm not saying I would buy a $50 light bar from Amazon, but I also wouldn't spend $1,800 for a light bar from KC Highlights, because I just can't justify that. To mount the light bar to the Jeep, I did have to purchase the KC light bar brackets. They are super strong and just super beefy to hold up that light bar. 320 bucks. I did try to go cheap on the light bar bracket, and that was a horrible idea because the metal just wasn't thick enough, and it flopped around and actually dinged the paint. It took a nice little paint chip out of my A-pillar, which made me very unhappy, and so I returned those and just forked out the money for the KC light bar bracket. I mean, if I'm going to have the light bar, might as well have a good quality bracket to hold it up, and so I paid my own money for that. On the bumper, I've got Denali D4 cube lights. Those things are fantastic, very well made. Denali did send those to me to help kind of sponsor this build, but they're $475 for the pair. And I mean, like the light bar, I can't justify spending that much money on some cube lights when I've had other cube lights that cost a fraction of that amount. So are they fantastic? Yes. Would I spend my own money for those? No. Now, the side lights that you see here, those are from Oxbeam, and I have just fallen in love with Oxbeam's products. They are a partner to the channel. They did send these to me for free to use in this build. These lights are fantastic. They've got a lot of output, and I bought these because I was wheeling at night in a washed out section of trail, and I was looking in my side view mirror, and I couldn't see where the obstacles and the rocks were on the side of the vehicle. So as soon as I got back, I reached out to Oxbeam. They sent me these just to illuminate the side of the Jeep so I can see obstacles and stuff at night. They actually make a pretty decent camp light as well. But they're only $60, which is a heck of a value. I think they're very well made, and so far I've been very impressed with them. So would I buy those for $60? Absolutely, hands down, no questions asked. The amber lights that I have on the back, they're actually the same light, but with an amber lens on them, and I got those for chase lights for in dusty environments, that sort of thing. And they work great. Again, excellent quality, $60. Would pay that price for a good quality set of lights without question. I do have rock lights on the Gladiator. They are from a company called MIC Tuning. They sent me these for the build, and I've just been crazy impressed with them. The light output is fantastic and really, light up the trail at night so I can see the obstacles in front of the tires. They're great for stepping out of the Gladiator at night and make sure I'm not stepping in a mud hole. But the rock lights are fantastic. They're $160. And I think they're worth it. It's a set of 8 lights. There's a Bluetooth app so I can change the color if I want to, but I never will because I like the white light for the bottom. They're fantastic rock lights, and I would pay $160 for those, no problem. I actually have the exact same set of lights inside the bed to light up the bed. I think they work great for bed lights, and that's why I used a second set there that MIC Tuning sent me. And in that case, me being able to change the color of the lights comes in handy because bugs can be attracted to white light. So if bugs are a problem, I can change them to amber, or I can change them to red and help, keep the bugs away. So I like that feature on those. For the tailgate, I've got a separate set of lights that just shine down on the tailgate to illuminate my kitchen area. And they're actually a set of lights. They're actually RV lights from Supery, and they're fantastic. They shine down at an angle and they illuminate my tailgate great. Those things are only $20 a piece. I've got 2 of them, so $40 for those 2 lights. If Supery hadn't sent those to me, I definitely would have bought them because I think that's a heck of a value. I do have aftermarket fog lights on the bumper because unfortunately this bumper did not allow the use of my factory fog lights from the steel bumper, so I had to get aftermarket fog lights. Again, reached out to Oxbeam. They sent me the fog lights that I have in there now. They work great. I think they're good quality. They're only $60, so $60 for a good set of fog lights I think is a heck of a deal. And again, if they hadn't sent them to me, I would have just bought them. And then to control all the lights from inside the Gladiator, I have got an 8-gang switch panel from Oxbeam. That switch panel is fantastic. It makes installing lights and the switches so incredibly easy that, for $166, I think it's probably one of the best switch panels out there. And if Oxbeam hadn't sent that to me, I absolutely would have bought that to put in there myself because it's just that good. Moving inside the Gladiator with that switch panel, I've got a number of things that I've done in there. Number one thing, the very first thing that I got for the Gladiator was my phone holder because I hate the suction cup mounts. A good quality phone mount is critical, and with my JK, I had Bullet Point Mounting Solutions phone mounts in that. They were fantastic. I loved them. They actually reached out to me and sent those to me for the JK. So when I got the Gladiator, I reached out to them asking if they would send me their new phone mount for the JLs and JTs, and they agreed to do that. I got what's called the Rubigrid. It's got multiple mounting points so you can customize how you want your stuff and what all things you want to put up there. Mine came with a GoPro mount and a phone mount, and then I had plenty of space to mount my auxiliary speaker for my Midland radio. And for $95, I think that's a heck of a deal. If they hadn't sent that to me, I was just going to buy it. I've recommended it to my friends. They've all bought the Bullet Point Mounting Solutions phone holders, and they love them, so definitely worth it. Wranglers and Gladiators are not known for being quiet inside, just the nature of the shape of the vehicle. You get a lot of wind noise even with the hardtop. The hardtop's not very insulated, so we got hothead headliners to help with the sound insulation, help with the weather insulation in there. And I got to tell you, they actually work, especially when it comes to the sound. It really creates less of an echo effect inside that hardtop and cuts down on a lot of the outside noise getting in. It makes a big difference in that area. I haven't really noticed it so much making a difference in hot weather or in cold weather as far as that insulation goes, but just the sound deadening alone is worth it. and it makes a really good place to put patches in a Wrangler or a Gladiator. So the Hothead Headliner, we bought that $379. I think it's fantastic, and we liked it so much we got a set for Kara's Wrangler. For communications, I'm running the Midland MXT 500. That radio is just a beast. Midland is a sponsor of the channel. They did send that to me to test out and do a review on, but I absolutely love that radio. And on the trips that I've used it on, I mean, the sound is crystal clear. My friends can hear me from a long way away, and it's just a great radio. For $400, that is definitely the radio I would buy. I think it's worth it. It's really just that good a quality radio. To hold the mic, I just went to Amazon, bought a cheap little mic holder that I found there for 14 bucks. It does the job it's supposed to, and it looks okay. And I mean, for 14 bucks, you can't go wrong there. Now, for the fire extinguishers, I do have one on the outside of the vehicle that I didn't include when I was talking about the bed rack. Then I've got one inside the Gladiator. They're all from H3R Performance, which is a very high quality fire extinguisher company. I've got their Max Out, which is just a standard dry chemical fire extinguisher for the bed rack. I've got their Howl Guard, which is a special chemical fire extinguisher for electrical fires and car engine fires, that sort of thing. It doesn't damage electrical components, it doesn't damage your paint, that sort of thing. So I've got those two fire extinguishers on their mounts. The Howl Guard fire extinguisher, that one's expensive. It's $267. For what it does, that is one that I would buy. I definitely would want to have that fire extinguisher in my rig just because of how it works and what it does. Their standard Max Out, it's just their standard fire extinguisher. It's $120. I don't know that I would buy that one. I think I would just buy some standard fire extinguisher that's a dry chemical fire extinguisher and not spend 120 bucks on theirs, but it is really good quality. And then I've got their mount, which is a quick release mount. I would definitely buy that at $68 and absolutely worth it. That is attached to a JCR Molly panel that's designed for the Gladiator. I bought that just to attach the fire extinguisher to, so it was super easy and quick to access. That one is $69. We bought that from JCR, and it's been great, and it serves its purpose. So, and then finally, I threw in $300 just of miscellaneous stuff, because wiring in the batteries, wiring in the lights, just requires purchasing extra wire for that, and connections and crimps and all that sort of thing. Extra stuff for the bed rack, just mounting brackets, miscellaneous things like that. Threw in an extra $300 just to kind of cover those bases. So, grand total, if you were to build my Gladiator today, it would cost $88,912.55, which isn't cheap. When I saw the total, I was like, oh. But man, I am so in love with this thing. I absolutely am. Could you build it cheaper? Yes, definitely. I definitely wouldn't sacrifice the quality in some areas. Easily, you could build it far more expensive. I mean, you could easily get that over $100,000. Doing the exact same build, but with different components, you could easily get that over $100,000 for this build. But I love it. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. I've never had more fun wheeling a vehicle and going to the places that I have taken this Gladiator. And, for basically $89,000, I have zero regrets. So let me know in the comments what you think. Is this completely crazy, or does this make sense? I mean, to me, it makes sense for what I do and what our long-term goals are. So let me know in the comments what you think. Give me all your hate. Ask me any questions. I love to hear it. If you would like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Check out our Patreon if you want to consider support in a tangible way. We also share all of our GPS data, our routes, and our waypoints to our patron subscribers, and do some special events and content for them. And if you're interested in our merchandise, such as this Go Away t-shirt that's fairly new, check out longcreekoverland.com for all of our Ozark Overland Adventures merchandise. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Bye.